In this video, I try a quick remedy to hopefully get the X5 starting better, and I save a lot of money with a great score from the junkyard. It's still very cold, but I got everything back together. I was getting ready to start the car and it wouldn't start. All the lights on the dash came on, but it didn't start. So I did some research and it could be a ground strap. Simple as that. The previous owners sold this car because it would have issues starting sometimes. A low battery is the only time I ever had those issues. So I'm gonna see if I can ground the engine to the chassis and see if that helps. I tried to locate the original engine to chassis ground strap. I couldn't find it. It's probably just buried somewhere deep within the engine bay. I saw a tip where someone with a different model X5 just found some good ground spots and made their own ground strap. So that's what I'm gonna try. It's simple enough that it's worth a shot. So here it is. And it's dirty down there, but the mount point is pretty clean, but I am gonna clean it off a bit. And I'm gonna use one of these bolts here. I was gonna try and make one with a cable that actually says on it, high current grounding cable. But the terminals I have are too small for the conductors, so I'm gonna go to the store. The local auto parts store had this strap in stock, but it is just a few inches too short. So as a backup, I picked up some terminals so I can make my own. So these terminals fit the bolts nicely, and this should fit in there perfect. So I'm gonna go crimp this. I do not use this that often, but I'm very glad I got it. I don't want one strand to be outside of it. I hope this works the way I intend it to. Well, that is a hell of a crimp. Maybe I go one size up, but that is fantastic. So I went to a slightly bigger size. Let's see. I like the way this crimp looks better, but both of them are solid. That's the spot I'm going to use right there. And I'm going to clean off a little bit with brake clean, but that's it. Now I'm just going to put it in. All right, it's good and tight. And I'm going to put it under here, like this other guy I saw. I'll link to his video. I just moved this brace up a little bit. I'll just put it right here on that hole. Yeah, I wish it were flat like the other one, but I'll make it work. I'm going to clean this off and see if there's a way to make better contact. Maybe sand it down a little bit. So that should be good metal to metal contact. So I'm going to position it like that. It's sitting up a little higher than it was before, but let's see if this bolt can drive it in a little bit. I think we're good. All right, I got it on. I'm just going to reconnect all the stuff that I took off to move the brace. This will be fantastic if this ends up working. I'm going to hook up just enough so I don't throw codes. It sounds like the solenoid is pushing out the starter gear, but that the starter isn't turning. And since I know the starter is getting a signal, and I use my OBD2 scan tool to verify that the voltage does drop when I press the start key, I went ahead and ordered a new starter. So in the meantime, I decided to see if I could score a new deck lid at the junkyard. The website said they had an E70 on the yard, so it was worth taking a shot. Me and my man Joe, we're out here at the junkyard. I'm looking for some parts. I'm looking for parts for the X5, and he's looking for parts for another project. Where's the X5 at? I don't see the letters. So there's A3. Ooh, boom. There it is. And look. Look at that. And it's in pretty good shape. Look at that. It's a 2012. I don't know if there's any differences between mine and that, but we're in luck, Joe. I didn't want to just rip the wiring off. Part of it's junkyard etiquette. The other part is I wanted to make sure I had all the parts I needed. So I tried to remove it without cutting any wiring. It took me a few minutes to figure out how this trim piece came off, but when I finally got it off, I could see the electrical connections. So then I had to figure out how to disconnect it without damaging any wiring or connectors. I think it's here. I think I got it. Yeah. I'm gonna try and preserve this wiring. I think that wire goes here and then here. So I think if I just do that. There were only two connections and they were easy to disconnect. Ha! And once they were disconnected, I snaked them out with a bit of care and I was good to go. I think that's it. You gotta tell me what the project is. I also took this protective boot just in case mine was in worse condition. And after that, it was just bolts. There were 2 Torx bolts at each hinge and 1 at each strut. A second set of hands made it go a lot faster. At this point, the trip was already worth it. I saved at least a couple $100 by finding this at the junkyard. And since the volume knob on my current radio doesn't work, I snagged a control panel off of this one. Might work, might not, but for a few bucks, I'm gonna give it a shot. To try and squeeze even more value out of this trip, I checked to see if there were any Mark IV Golfs on the lot, and I found this one. Not only was it in my color, but it was also a 2-door. I thought about picking up this center console for my Golf. I currently don't have one in my car, but this one was partially broken and had some missing pieces, so I decided to pass on it. But this radio was intriguing. It would be an upgrade from what I currently have in my car, and for 50 bucks, I figured it was worth a shot. It only took like a minute to take it out.
Nope. Yes.
50 bucks, I hope it works. Then it was time to load the truck and head home. This was one of my more successful junkyard trips in a while. I do miss it, and maybe I'll make coming to the junkyard more of a habit. And when I got home, I almost had to make another trip to the junkyard by denting my Civic. I did not try to get this close, and I didn't plan to get this close. But I'm glad I didn't ruin the trunk of my Civic. So tomorrow, I'll try to solve the X5 starting issues with a new starter. If you would like to follow along, hit subscribe. If you would like to see the things I've already done to the X5, check out the playlist. Thanks for watching. Take care.